installing a front suspension fork on the XpLite 2.0 carbon fiber drive. I'm starting with the basics here. You can see I got my bike up and I've got the front off the ground. I've got it stabilized in the back, and I'm getting ready to start disassembling the front area. And I'm going to get, I think I'll start with the wheel, headlights, then I'll work my way up to the fork. And what I'll do is try to do a video on each stage. Here's one of the critical areas right down here. What's going to fit? All right, on to the next video. Tire is now off. Pretty easy. You got the two little clips to hold it in there. Now we're going to go over here and we're going to disassemble this. I'm going to take only the brake assembly off to start with. I don't think we need anything else. For ease, we're going to remove the light from this harness so we can make things easier. Now time to remove the brake assembly. You will notice I put the screws back in over here for the fender so we can find them. This screw up here went, don't know where I put that. I'm gonna have to go look. There it is. It's laying, it's with the light. Okay, so that'll help. We'll continue on here. All right, I loosened the brake assembly, and I want to point out that there's some slack in here. So this is really going to help in your final adjustments. Okay, moving forward. All right, now I'm ready to remove the fork. Okay, I took the headset loose. I tipped this guy down, and if you look right down in here, you got a bolt in there, which you got to get out. First, or second, also these two right down here, these two bolts right here, we loosen these up, and then we're going to be able to pull the whole handlebar head assembly off. That might even drop the fork out. We'll see once I get there. I don't really exactly recall. Here we go. Just a quick note. This guy here, he was in here really tight. I had to use two different tools, and what I actually did is I got it in here and I tapped it down a little bit so I knew I wasn't going to be stripping this head on this Allen screw or bolt. Hang on to this guy. It's pretty valuable. This is what came out underneath the handlebar assembly holding the fork on. I don't recall this on the XpLite 1. So we're going to set this aside. Don't lose it. We reached a point where the handlebars are loose from the fork, and the fork's going to drop off. But I want to point some things out here that really are starting to concern me. I don't know what we're going to do for this part going back in reference to the other parts, so I want to make some comments on that. But anyway, right now I'm going to pull this off, and the fork just fell out. Actually, that's exactly what I expected. So I'm going to lay this down out of the way, and next thing we're going to do is we're going to get to work on this. We got some things to take apart and see what they are. Now I see some washers and things laying on the floor down here, so we're going to go stop this and pick those up and continue. All right, we're continuing here. I went over here and I picked this up, and if we look at this real carefully, you can see it looks like it goes on like this. There's a washer here, and then down here is going to be a race, or whatever they want to call it. We're going to have to get that off after a little bit. We'll go back over here, and I want to look at the top of this again. We got this, and we got this, and we got this. So we got three things that came out of here. These are really important. So we're going to be coming into this up here, and we're going to re-grease this also. I don't think anything else moves here, so we're going to just put these back for part of the video. I put this in like that, and everything just fell. And I don't know what order it was in. So that was kind of a mistake on my part. Now I got to see. I think this goes here. I think this goes here, which it appears to, and then this goes here. And I got everything dirty. So I'm going to stop this, clean it off, and we're going to come back. All right, I'm back at the assembly that's right below the top of the handlebars. And I think this is the way it fell apart. I take this guy off like this, put him there. I take this guy, this little black guy here, and you see the difference in this guy. If I can find out where, okay, there we are. There we are. See that right there? We put him there. Now we see this guy in here. He's up. We're going to take him out like this, and we're going to put him there. He's going to go right back on top of that guy. And I got one more piece here that I think goes right back in there. From what I can tell, that came out of here like this, because this has got two different settings on it. This one turns in here real nicely. Now, whether the bearing goes down in there or not, first, I really don't know. I'm going to have to experiment with that a little bit. Matter of fact, I'll do that now. Right, we're back to the top with the bearing set up, and I think I got this figured out. And we're going to take them off, and we're going to put them over here on the paper towel, and then we're going to move them into my storage area. So I got him here. Then this guy seems to go next, and that gives a real nice, when you put him back in there, he goes real nice around that bearing. Then we come here to the top of this. That's above the bearing. It holds the bearing in place. I think that's next, because that sits right in there. And then the bearing comes out, and the bearing goes around that right there. So that's going to be the order which we're going to put it back in. We're going to have to go down here to the bottom, and we're going to stop this video and get this lined up. All right, these two are off the bottom of the fork, and it's going to go on like this, just in that order: the black ring, then the bearing. Now we got another piece down here. I got to get off. I don't know what it's called, but I'll work on that after I do a little bit of R&D on the top of the new fork. All right, it's time to get this ring off of the original fork. Now this was way down, right up into here, right against here, and you can't see any light in there or anything. What I did, and I've done one before, is I took a chisel, decent chisel, and put them in here and tapped a little bit till I got a little, put them in here and tapped until I got a little bit of daylight in here, and then I was able to work around it and widen this gap, and it popped right off. There's really nothing to it. Don't get alarmed about it. Just do it the right way. Next job here is to cut off the new fork. You can see it's got a long tube on it. And we're going to come up here and we're going to measure this. This is really simple. I measured it. It's 6.5 inches. Nothing to it. We're going to come down here. We're going to make a mark on here, like 6.5 inches. Then I'm going to take, all right, I just dropped a whole bunch of stuff. This tool and cut it off. I'll be back. I'm going to come back to this. These are the three pieces. Find my finger. This is the bearing that goes up in first. This is the plastic washer that's underneath it, and this is the ring I just took off. So this is the order in which these go back on. It doesn't look very logical, but I can't even tell them where they are here. Doesn't look very logical, but this is how it goes. This is how it seems to fit up in there very nicely. So hopefully this is right. We'll see. Coming back to this. This is the assembly of all three pieces here. This guy's in here. Underneath, this is the guy that we took off the bottom of the fork, and this is over the top of that, and then this guy just went right down in here real nicely. So it's going to be a little confusing. I'm just going to put all the videos together and we'll just take care of it. All right, we're cutting the top off of the fork tube, 6.5 inches. Pretty simple. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to get a little file and file on the inside a little bit so I can go ahead and get the other part on here. Now we're going to run into some complications, so I'm sorry to say. Be back. Okay, now we got to file down the end here. You got to file the inside because there's going to be a lip in there. Okay, and then you got to come back, and what you got to do is you got to file this flat. So don't forget this step. Now we've got to put this ring on the new fork. Okay, and there's no real great method to do this. I'm going to try a couple different things here. I had a big crescent wrench here, but I put it down. I'll be back. What I'm ending up doing here is I'm actually going to come in here. I'm going to tap this right here. I got a real light edge here and a real thin putty knife. I'm just going to tap around this real slow, and I started this already so you can see it's coming on. So let me work on this a little bit and I'll be back. Okay, now you can see I got this guy on. It's fairly tight. It's within a half a millimeter, thousandths of a milliliter maybe. Anyway, it should be fine. Now we're going to go to assembly area probably. Now we got to put a star nut in the top of the tube here. And I'm going to hold this over here and you can see what this is. It's going to get driven down in there by this device over here that I've got. If I can get this out of here. Who knows? There we go. What we do is we take this guy, it's got a certain depth that sets in there. Put this on there like this. We take this and we drop this down in here. That's dropped down in there. Where is it? There it is. It's dropped down in there. And now I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to put it on here, and I'm going to pound this in a certain depth. Now this is where we're going to get into complications, I think. I don't know how this is going to work with a different size bolt down in here versus compared to what Lectric has. That size is, that's a 8M or 6M. I'm not sure what it is. I have to go look. But the one that's came out of there is much bigger. But I got to put this in. The worst can happen is $120 to wrecking this, and I got to start again. It's done. I pounded it in. I'm going to pull this guy out. I'm going to pull this off. And there's our star nut. And we got a motorcycle in the area. This is what holds everything together. Now this is where the complexity comes in. I don't know what this is going to happen. I got a screw that fits in there, and I may have to put a washer in, and I may have to cut this other guy off. So we're going to work with this a little bit. Get the bottom put on. We're going to get the bottom pieces on there. Get some good grease on it. Then we're going to put this up in there. I'm going to let the bike down onto that, and I'm going to start working on the top assembly. We'll be back. All right, we've now put the bottom two pieces above the ring that we just pounded on there, and I got these all set, and I already tested that in there. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to lower this part of the bike, and then I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to keep that down, that piece of plastic down there to prevent any problems on the bottom of the fork until we get some things done up top. So we'll be back. The fork has got this bracket around here. I better change this. The fork has got this bracket around here in the front, and if you go back here, you can see where we can actually drill this out, and that might allow us to put the fender and the light back up there. I don't know, but it's a little easier to drill this out now than it is with the bike assembled. So we'll be back more. We're back here. We got a hole drilled in. I don't know what value it's going to have, but there it is. Now we're here, and we're gonna pick this guy up, and we're gonna put this in. So I'm gonna stop the video. I need both hands to do this. So we'll be back once I got this fork in. The fork is now sitting on, or the fork is now in, and the bike has got pressure on it. And you can see what we got here. Everything looks pretty good. There's our star down there. Star nut. The real challenge comes what we do with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the bearings ready to put in here and get that on. And then I'm going to come over and I'm going to put the top of the I'm going to put the handlebars back on and see what we got. And I got this lined up and pretty good. And we'll see if this will tighten up from the handlebar part on there. And then we got to deal with this guy down here. I do not know how this is going to go. Like I said, we got this one piece we'll show you in a little while that got to go in there, and we may have to go get a different bolt. We don't have any options here. That's in there, or I buy a new fork and start over. But this is the biggest part. So here we go. Oh, of course we got this left down here. So let's see if we're going the right direction. I think we are. Everything over here lines up. So we'll shut this off and come back when we got more done. It's time to put the top bearing assembly back on before we mount this on. I had it on just to see if it fit. And we're just going forward. We're hoping we can find a solution for down in here once we get it on. Let me grease up these bearings a little bit. I'm going to use this white lightning grease. It's white as it says, and I'm going to put it in there and shouldn't have to take it apart again while I own this bike. Try this again. All right, I put the bearings on. I left the last piece off so you can see me put that on, and then I'm going to slide the top on there. I'm going to have to find out if I actually got this on right or not. I have no idea. We'll find out. Now we're going to pick up the handlebar assembly and see if we can get this on here. Well, I got just one hand working here, and looks like I might have it. I'm not 100% sure. We're trying. Oh, no. There we go. There we go. I got it on. And I'm going to tip it up. I'm going to put it where I think it should be. All right, I got this this piece put in. It was a little bit of a struggle because I didn't measure things, and the screw I had was short, and I had to make a trip to the local parts store to get a 6x100 M6 by 100 millimeter bolt. Put it in, tighten it up, ready to go to the next step. I've jumped forward a little bit, and I put the fork together. Then I had it sitting on just on some blocks. Then I started to tighten things up, but it wasn't doing real well. So I put the front wheel on, and then started tightening that up. And I had to loosen these guys here, but I also loosened the bolt in here. And I discovered some rock in the front end going back and forth a little bit. Left a little bit of gap here, and I didn't know if I had it put together right or not. But what I did is I got the wheel together on it, tightened it up real good. Then I raised this up, and I pushed on it, and I got that gap closed down and pushed down on this, and I tightened these up. Actually, take that back. I opened this up and I tightened in the center nut, and that made a big difference. It looks like I got it down. And by the way, it looks like we can use this fork with the pieces that are here, with the exception you got to get a star nut, and it's an M6, and I got a 100 millimeter long bolt, which I didn't have. I spent a couple hours trying to screw that bolt in, and I was thinking I was there. Finally had to measure it with the calipers, and it was short. Off to the store I went. Got a new one now. So now what I'm at as I'm sitting here with the bikes together, I've got this down here. I got to go find the other part that goes down here. The adapter. I'm going to put the adapter on, and I'm actually going to try and put the brakes on. So we'll be back again. All right, we've actually got the brake on the bike, and actually filled the pedals, and it stopped it. I'm going to have to do a little adjustment here, find out what it is, but I want to let people know that this does work the way it looks. I'm gonna have to do a much more work here to finish this up. Probably be tomorrow. So I'm just gonna try and tighten this up and wrap up for tonight and analyze my mistakes and start to get the video together. Thank you. Bye. Yeah, I just rode it 50 yards and it works. So I'll have to get the video finished and be putting it out there. Thank you. Bye. Last thing I tried is putting the fender on, and you can see it doesn't line up with anything. The holes are way up here, and this would take a modification, which I'm really not interested in doing. So no go on the fender. That's it. All right, I've finished putting everything together. I get the brakes all done. Now what I did is I had a little bit of noise, so I cleaned these guys with alcohol and the noise went away. All right, one of the other things that I didn't talk about at all yet is you need some thread locker, blue Loctite, or somebody else's blue. But you don't want to get the red because that's permanent and you have a hell of a time. It's about 10 minutes to put it on, get it in, or start over, and use it on everywhere that you're putting bolts on. Don't put it on your wheel. I've got the headlight up here now. As I said, we didn't put on the fender because it's not going to fit without some mods. Might do that this winter. Okay, critical is this area here. This took me a couple times to get it up and right, and there's a little bit of play in here when you're putting it together, so you're going to have to work with that very carefully. Other than that, I think we got a winner. I'm going to get this back up, put it together, and I'm going to go get my helmet, do a little test riding in the neighborhood. Then it's going to be time to go up for an hour bike ride. So that's a wrap, and I'm going to go ahead and put all these short videos together. Take care. Bye.